a chance to seal it. It's done. It's Georgie Kelly. Rotherham United's pathway back to the championship is opening up.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Another defeat, another bucket load of nonsense and things to criticise. This will be good. This will be good. Thank you all for being with us. First of all, I want to thank you for everybody who subscribed to the YouTube channel. We've hit 900, which was our target before the end of the season. We're in February. So thank you, everybody. Obviously, we'll move the target going forward. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much. Mick is with us tonight. How are you doing, Mick?
I'm all right, mate. I'm good. Good.
This could very well be a bumper episode for all you Mick Rant fans out there, couldn't it? Yeah.
Oh dear.
We'll see.
Mr. Keith Stroud, if you're watching, I'd just switch it off, mate. I would not listen to the rest of this episode. Just warning you. Danny's with us. How are you doing, Danny?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right, thank you. It was a very strange experience for me on Saturday because went into the fan zone just to investigate the rumours that we were on the big screen, and apparently we are. So that's fun. So hello to everyone who was watching this in the fan zone playing pool and air hockey and FIFA and such.
I suspect pre the Sunderland game we won't be in the fan zone. We might just replay an old episode.
Possibly.
I wonder if we get to 15 minutes and they go, oh no, we can't show that.
Yeah. We like to start with positive news. I don't think there's any positive Rotherham news, Danny, but you want to give a shout out to Grace. Grace Gill does the artwork. You want to give her a shout out? Is that am I right saying? Yes.
Some people know her as S64 Miller. But yeah, Grace Kelly does the artwork. Some fantastic stuff. I believe one of them's gone with Dan Barlasser up to Middlesbrough. But yeah, I went to go and watch her in her Drama Society's rendition of Matilda, where she played a very good Miss Trunchbull, I might add. So yeah, just well done, Grace. Absolutely fantastic effort. It were a really cracking show. It's a shame it's finished, but it was absolutely incredible. So well done, Grace.
Yes. Very much so. Very much so. All right, let's go through it. Let's just get on with it, shall we? Josh Eames says evening. Dave Lawton says evening. Here we go again. Damien Carwood says evening, guys. Mick will be on a rant tonight, and he's lost for the words display of the officials. Harvey Kelwick's with us as well as Kim Haywood. John Morrell, the Birmingham fans, says evening, lads. So should we forget about football? Has anybody watched any good films lately? Michael Carmel says good evening, Palmer UK. So howdy. There's only one place to start, unfortunately. Let's just get it out of the way and get it done. Mr. Stroud made himself centre of attention, as he does. You know, this is his MO. We shouldn't be surprised. And I thought we should probably clarify some confusion. Now, there's been a lot of speculation on social media that the foul in the goal was because a Dauphin held back one of their players. I can't remember who the player was. That is not what Matt Taylor's been told. Matt Taylor said that he'd been told that it was because of a foul on the keeper, which would make it through Conor Coventry, apparently fouling the keeper. Danny, I am going to come to you first because Mick's going to, just like when Mick gets on, we'll just go for a beer or something. So, Danny, start us off. I don't get it. It's the wrong decision. Right, so it's maybe not the wrong decision, but it's soft. And if you're going to give that in the 4th minute, you have got to give 15 penalties in the game. You've set yourself a bar, you've set yourself a precedent, and you've got to go with it so early on in the game for me.
Yeah, it's actually quite a brave decision to make in the 4th minute. Because in terms of the delivery and Hugel's header, there's nothing wrong with it. And I saw the people not complaining, but pointing out a Dauphin holding their defender or Hugel's marker. And that's not a foul either. I watched it, it's like, no, that's not a foul. It's just very tactical, if I'm being honest. But then even with the keeper, it's like you say, it's soft. And if you're giving them sort of decisions that early in the game, like you say, there must have been at least 15 penalties, 3 red cards, and booking points that even Sky Bet wouldn't be able to handle. So it's a really strange one because I've watched it back and it's like you see those sorts of decisions just go, yeah, it's a goal. In fact, I think if Coventry had done that to us, it would have stood. That with the whole thing about football. But yeah, watched it back and I can't see much wrong with it, unless Keith Stroud wanted to set the precedent and then decided to go, actually, no, I'm a bit too strong with some of these. I thought other than that, he had an all right first half and then absolutely fell to pieces in the second half. But yeah, I can't see what's wrong with it, and I can see why Matt Taylor was a bit upset about it as well, because there's not a lot wrong with that, and they've denied Hugo his first Rotherham goal, so I'm doubly upset. Just strange. And mind you, we've been on the receiving end of strange refereeing decisions in this division at least 6 times this season already.
Yeah.
So we've just had a dipset pile at this point, lads. We'll have a full deck of cards by end of the season.
We will, yeah. Matt Taylor described it as a travesty. People in the comments are generally in agreement that it should be. And whether you agree with the protection or not, Matt Taylor told us at the time it was a foul on the keeper. Didn't see anything. Shelley RFC is right. The keeper didn't appeal. Not one of their players appealed for a foul or any sort of questions. Freddie Oxbury says, I honestly agree. Like when it's soft, they've set a level. John Morell says keepers are too protected these days. Any touch on them, that's a foul. It's wrong, but sadly, it's what it is now. He says, watched the goal back 10 times. Nearly visited stage. I couldn't see anything wrong. Shellstone says, yeah, didn't maintain the level throughout. Glenn Watkin from the Sky Blue Hub says Stroud had a clear view. Rotherham didn't create anything. No, after which is correct. Coventry didn't need to tangle with the keeper as he was not going for the ball. Yeah, Jamie, this will set Mick off. Jamie says, when we played Barnsley, Victor got decked by Morris. That was a goal. Ours wasn't. A lack of consistency. There's the C word, Mick. The big fat C word that is. I don't know.
Here we go.
I don't know.
What we're talking about here, we're talking about consistency or Keith Stroud.
Mum, can you pass me a beer, please?
Yeah.
You want me to
It's consistent because this is a big thing, and we've obviously got 2 extremes other, haven't we? We've obviously got the Victor elbow, and then we've got this one. 2 different refs, it should be said, but one's a foul, one's not, and it's the same game of football that we're playing. It's crazy. It's so soft.
The first thing I would say is that we shouldn't spend too much time talking about Keith Stroud because, that's his reason to be on a football pitch, in it, so people can talk about him. If it's a foul on the keeper, absolutely fine, not a problem. Disallow it, no problem whatsoever. I've not watched it back. I don't want to wait to be back. But listen, if people are saying it is a foul on the keeper and Keith Stroud's had a good view of it, not a problem. Disallow it, no issue whatsoever. We can go then skip forward if you like to Coventry's second goal when Tom Eaves picks the ball up on the edge of the Coventry box, and I counted them. He was fouled 6 times before he lost the ball. He was pulled back, he was pushed, he was tripped, he was pulled back again, and so on and so forth. With Keith Stroud running alongside him, he was fouled 6 times, more so than the keeper was in that build-up. Nothing given. Chio Ogbene has his shirt pulled almost over his head in the penalty area in that first half. Nothing given. It's Keith Stroud. He's incompetent. It's not a question really of consistency as far as I'm concerned with him. He is just incompetent. This is not why we lost the game. We'll come on to
I think we'd have probably lost anyway.
We'd have lost anyway, So I have no issue with that. Well, I do have an issue with it, but I'm not sort of blaming the referee for us losing the game. But his performance is what we expected, I guess. As soon as he was announced as the referee for the game, we knew what we were going to get. We knew exactly what we were going to get. And he didn't disappoint. He should not be refereeing at this level. It's as simple as that. And if you watch him week in, week out, as an assessor, you should know that. It's not. His consistency is just. It's off the scale. His inconsistency. It is absolutely off the scale. There were so many fouls yesterday that he didn't give to both sides, and then in the next phase of play, gives an absolutely soft foul to both sides. There were occasions in the second half, and I can't remember whether it was Peltier or one of our players got the ball, and he literally dove on the floor when the player came near him, right in front of the linesman. I mean, it was embarrassing. He gave a free kick. And yet Eves get ragged about all over the place as he's got his back to goal, trying to offload the ball to none of our players who are interested in taking it off him. He gets fouled so many times with the referee literally running alongside him. Nothing. It blows my mind. It does, honestly. It absolutely blows my mind that you can disallow that goal for that and yet allow all the other things to go. Both sides, to both teams. I'm not saying he's biased in any way. He's just incompetent. And we've had him twice this season. I'm sure we're going to get him again.
Probably.
And it blows my mind that he is allowed to officiate games at this level. It really does. But anyway, what can you do?
Nothing.
I'm surprised it's not Mick's longest rant, that.
Well, the thing is with Stroud, obviously we ref the Sheffield United game as well. He didn't give us a penalty, which was a penalty. That thankfully at the time that wasn't game changing, but we were playing Sheffield United. Very well could have been. We don't know what would have gone on to happen, so we are just obviously speculating that it could have changed the game. An early goal changes the game. We know it does. I think we were still rubbish. I still don't think we'd have won, but.
The thing that for me that sums Keith Stroud up perfectly, is that he took the ball. He'd clearly not been on telly for a while. Fourth officials obviously told him he's not been on telly for a while. He took the ball off our goalkeeper, having not had any contact with the ball whatsoever. Nobody said anything to him. He took the ball off our goalkeeper, said, "Oh, it's gone down," and changed balls. And Victor, what are you on about? What's wrong?
Victor looks so confused.
Completely confused. And I'm convinced fourth official's been in his ear. Keith, you've not been on telly for a bit. Get involved. Get on telly. Clown. Absolute clown.
Yeah.
I'm done.
I think that's it. I don't know what else we can say, to be honest with you. It was a shocker. Because and as I've already mentioned, it's not a shocker because of a one-off decision. It's a shocker because of his subsequent decisions. That's why it's such a shocking decision. John's put in the comments here about Mark Robbins saying it was a clear as day foul. He's right. Mark Robbins, I suppose, is just protecting his own team, maybe.
Oh, come on,
it's an easy out, isn't it?
Robbo's only 2'6". He can't have possibly seen what's happening.
The same size as Keith Stroud.
Exactly. It's not as big as Stroud.
Anyway, moving on. I don't know. There's nothing else to say, I don't think.
I think the only thing we can add is that even though it sounds like we've effectively buckshotted Mr. Stroud, we do call out referees when they've had a good performance.
Absolutely.
Which game was it? I think was it the Birmingham game at home?
Gavin Ward. It was Gavin Ward.
Yeah, he had an absolutely fantastic game.
He did, yeah.
And we quite happily praise referees, but yeah, Keith didn't have the best of games, did he? But then again, neither did Rotherham. So,
we'll ask the question: who was worse, Keith Stroud or Rotherham United? Tough one. It's a very, very tough one.
Ooh, good question.
I'd say it's probably us. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. 10 minutes on a referee. So we'll see him again in a few weeks. I'm absolutely certain of that. Right, back to the start, Mick. Back to prior to that, obviously the team lineup came out. Back to a 4-3-3, I think. Yeah, back to a 4-3-3. Chio came in for Fozu, and that was the. I think, am I right in saying that was the only change? Oh, I got my lineups back up.
No, Fergie came in as well, didn't he?
Oh, Fergie came in as well. Yeah, you changed your sort of the two-pronged side of the things. Everything else is basically the same. It didn't work. Fergie and Chio. It's difficult to just sort of pinpoint. Those two are maybe not the reason we lost the game, but the changes didn't work. I don't get Fozu not starting. because when he came on, he was an instant threat, and he was an instant threat against Reading. The changes seemed off.
Yeah, it didn't work, did it? It didn't work. We didn't create a thing all game. Not a single. I don't think we created a single opportunity apart from the disallowed goal, and that was from a set piece. And I think you said it to me during game now towards back end of the game. If we carry on playing till Sunderland arrived on Tuesday night, we still wouldn't have scored. The changes didn't work, and I don't understand why he took Fosso out. I don't get it. I don't understand why we've got the bench without a single midfielder on it, with the exception of Fosso. So we've no central midfielder. Jamie Lindsay sat there twiddling his thumb somewhere. God only knows why. That just beggars belief for me. We did nothing, and we deserved to lose, in my view anyway. Whilst we may have been all right defensively, apart from that first goal, which we'll come on to, I'm sure, we never created a thing. We never laid a glove on them. And what I would say is, I don't know whether anybody else is picking up on this, but it certainly seems to me that press has gone again.
Yeah.
No coincidence, is it, that as soon as that press goes out of our game, as soon as that intensity goes out of the game, we get walked on. And I find it bizarre. It's kind of sneaked out this time, as opposed to being dropped like a stone, like it was the first time. It feels like it's been kind of sneaked away, as if hopefully nobody notices, kind of thing, which I'm sure is not the case. But it's gone from the game, and straight away we offer nothing. It's depressing.
Yeah, I mean the first half was okay, Danny. Matt Taylor basically suggested it was a very good half. I wouldn't say it was a very good. I thought it was okay. Well, why I thought it was just two pretty poor teams, to be honest with you. I don't think Coventry stepped up in the first half at all. Well, they played well for an away team, is maybe what I'm trying to say. But we created little other than the goal, which got disallowed, which was from a set piece. We're not creating anything from open play. And a few people mentioned the Dan Barlasser thing. We didn't create a lot of stuff when Dan Barlasser was here post the Christmas period. So it's very easy to say, Dan Barlasser's not here. And that is a thing. I agree to that to an extent. But Dan Barlasser's he's not the greatest player in the world. You know, we've got to get on without him. It's the players on the pitch that are the problem at the minute. Or is it Matt Taylor's selection? Is it Matt Taylor's tactics? It's really difficult, but where is the problem?
That's a dump on me, good grief. For me, watching the Coventry game, it was very similar to the Reading game, because we had an okay first half. Against Reading, the goal actually stood. Against Coventry, it didn't. And then in the second half, it just seemed to go to pot, really. To me, it almost seems like we don't have the mentality to see out a second half. You know, we sort of have that good first half and then go, right, okay, we need to just match that level. But because the opposition obviously wants to win the game as well, we don't match the shift in play, and it just sort of goes out the window in the second half. I agree with Mick. The press seems to have snuck away again. I think the last time we really saw an effective press was probably against Sheffield United, if I'm being honest. And I agree, Barlasser is a big loss because, as Powerman UK just pointed out, he had the most assists for us, and I believe on his full debut for Middlesbrough, he got an assist. But then we should be finding ways to still create those opportunities in the box for someone like Hugill or Eves or even Kelly and Wash to latch onto, which should be the wide players, the wide attackers' job, to push out wide, ball into the box with your striker and maybe the midfielders coming in too. But Hugill doesn't seem to get service, and when he does get service, it's either too deep or it's too close to the keeper, which I saw a lot of, if I'm being honest. It was either too deep or, what was he called, their keeper, Wilson? Yeah. He seemed to just be able to just claim it easily. So that could be the players. I think sometimes with substitutes, like, don't get me wrong, I love Matt Taylor, but with the substitutes, it's almost as if it's a, he's one of the older ones, he's flagging, we'll swap that. We're still not playing effectively, we'll just throw all the strikers on, which is a little bit kitchen sinky, I think, because you suggested this on the post-match, Matt. I think we've changed formation 2-3 times during the game. and it sort of turned into a we'll try anything that sticks. And yeah, when we had more strikers on the pitch, we did look a bit more of a goal threat, but nothing compared to how we've been in the past. For example, look at Blackburn. You know, we effectively pressed Blackburn into oblivion and created lots of chances. But now that the press has snuck out, the strikers almost seemed a little bit lost, and we're relying on balls from out wide and set pieces that, again, are either too long or easily claimed by the goalkeeper. I think it's numerous things that aren't quite firing right now, and that's where it's come from. I don't think you can nail it down to one thing specifically. I think it's multiple things that have just sort of got a little fire going, if you like, that's causing mayhem.
Yeah. John Morrell says, the Gary Rowett philosophy, losing a game, so bring in 5 strikers. And that's exactly what happened, Mick. And on Tuesday, I can accept it because it was a 90th minute goal. You've got injury time. Yeah. Bung them on. You know, this is it. This was different. What was it? 70 minutes, 75 minutes they came on. Let me just get the lineups up so I can just make sure we're giving semi-accurate information. 78 minutes they came on, but including injury time. You got nearly 20 minutes there. It was panicky, and what that for me does is opposition's going. They ain't got a clue. They have not got a Scooby-Doo what's going to happen. So all we need to do is just defend as we have been doing for the 90 minutes, and let's get things right. Coventry are a championship team, a proper championship team. They are well organised. They have some really, really good players. The players that aren't really, really good know their job to a T. You can't just bunk 3 strikers on and hope for the best. It doesn't work against teams like that. And it was panicky. It was planless. It was many other words I can't think of today. And that's a concern that the game management word is coming up and again. Our in-game changes are lacking seriously.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I would have done as an under-14s manager.
Yeah.
You know, not knowing what to do. It does strike as a bit panicky. It feels as though it is. And the main reason it feels as though it is not necessarily because the players that he's bringing on, but when he does bring them on, there appears from the sidelines, from the stands, to be zero shape in front of that back four. You know, you've got Foss who came on. I have no idea where Tariq Foster was supposed to be playing. He was effective and he got on the ball and he did. You know, he looked dangerous, but there was no real sort of. Was he playing left? Is he playing right? He was getting in Chio's way. Chio was getting in Fergie's way. It just, you know, the shape of that midfield was poor before he made the substitutions, but once he made them, it was just completely lacking in any sort of organisation, and it was like you said, panicky from 80 minutes onwards. I don't know. It's easy for us to sit in the stands and say, oh, you know, you should have done this, should have done the other. But often when substitutions are made, when changes are made in play, you can kind of pick out what they're trying to do, and it just felt literally, like you said, panicky. I can't think of another word really. Nobody seemed to know really what their role was.
Yeah. We will maybe get into the Matt Taylor discussion a little bit more depth in a minute, I suppose. Let's talk about the goals first before we do, which may be the reason why we're not on the fan zone. So if we're not on the fan zone, apologies. You know. The first goal, Danny, I'll come to you because Mick's been critical of Grant Hall previously. And unfortunately, this was a bit of he wasn't the only one in this goal, but this was a bit of a Grant Hall disaster class. You know, he's got himself in a bad position. He's dove in for a ball that he was never going to win in a million years. Peltier's already up the pitch because he was doing something. He was, you know, I don't have a problem with where he was. And it's left us with 2 centre-halves and midfield scrambling back. He can't be doing that. He's left the team in lurch, and that's really poor from an experienced defender.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who, I know it's schoolboy stuff saying this, but as someone who's at least had experience playing centre-half, you're always told don't dive in. If it's you and your mate against one of their attackers where, like you said, midfield's still running back, one of your other experienced defenders isn't there to support you, you never dive in, because if you dive in and miss, they're more or less through. And Hall's made that mistake. Again, it comes down to, like I said earlier, we just didn't have a Scooby and he's just sort of gone, and we just need to stop him. And he's dived in and missed. and effectively played their attacker through. And for an experienced defender, should I say? There's an F in there. You just can't. You need to dive in, show him the angle of your body that's away from goal, which I believe in Hull's case was his left side, I think. If you turn your body, you've got your right shoulder towards him, and you're showing him your left side. If you'd have done that and pushed him out wider, it makes it a hell of a lot harder for him to get a shot away, unless he's done some sort of trickery and he's gone past you. But for Hull just to dive in, it's like, right, there you go, off you go. I don't blame Victor for it, because it is down to Hull, but we've seen it before. He nearly gave a goal away against Blackpool, and that was just a mistake, whereas this one's diving in, and it's like, it's just frustrating. That's what it is. As a striker, that's a gift for you. As a defender, it's like, oh no, what we done that for? And it's just frustration. That's what it is. It's frustration for fans and desperation, I think, from Hull to try and win the ball.
Yeah. It should also be said that Jamie Allen's had got time for a couple of touches in the box as well. He had so much space. He could have taken another touch. He didn't need it because he scored a goal. But he had time in the box to take another touch. And again, that's not good enough.
No, it's not.
Are you coming to me?
I did, yeah.
Oh, right, sorry. No, it's not. It's not good enough at all. It's just poor defending. Just poor defending. He should never have got into the box, that ball, or certainly not from where it started. And it's just schoolboy defending in it. And every centre half, like we've said before, has got a mistake in him. And Grant Hall is a centre half. He's got a mistake in him, and I'm sure he'll be kicking himself now for that, because it was just ridiculous, given the circumstances and where everybody else was on the pitch. And the lad who crossed, was it number 45? I can't remember. The tall lad.
It was, yeah.
He's quick. He's got quick feet. He'd done what he did to Grant Hall 3 or 4 times on the run up to that as well in centre of the park. So it was clear. You knew that he had it in him. And so when you see a player of that quality, diving in is just, like I said, schoolboy stuff. So, and I suppose arguably it got what it deserved.
Yeah, it did. So frustrating to so quickly after half time as well. You've got to be more switched on whatever it was, 47th minute. You've just come out, just switch on. If you switch on, you don't concede that goal. It's just lazy from half time. Whether it's a hangover, I don't know. Again, who was that on? Is it on the players or Matt Taylor? We don't know. It's on somebody though. Somebody's messed up there, basically.
It's like worst time to concede as well, because you've just come back out motivated, like, right, we can get us motivated and get on with it second half. But to concede within the first 5 minutes, it's an absolute motivation killer, that. Yes. And no wonder we had a poor second half. You've come back out, more or less got settled, and then the opposition scored. No, it's like one of the worst times to concede, because then your game plan's gone out the window within 5 minutes. We say we looked a bit lost and, like we didn't have a game plan, probably because it's already gone out the window. Yeah.
And again, you said about Coventry, you don't want to go behind against Coventry. The last thing you want to do is go behind against them, because of the things I already mentioned about how solid they are. Second goal, Danny. Tommy's come in for a bit of stick, which I understand, but as Mick's pointed out, he's been fouled at least 3 times. And also, he's got to be given an option. Not a single player opened up for an option, and that goes on Cameron Humphreys and Bailey Wright. They were on the time as well. Just help. You'll just right, give me ball. Give me an out ball. I felt really sorry for Tommy because I don't know who we thought he was yesterday. I think we thought he were messy or something. We're pinging balls into him, asking him to do things he can't do. It was just a mess.
Yeah, I mean, not to take it away from Tommy, I thought his first touch was poor when he came on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yesterday, if I'm being honest. So he's not escaping all blame, but the one that led to the goal, you can sort of go, again, it's circumstantial, because, there was no options created to him. He has tried to do too much with it. And right. And he's just been caught out. That's all. He's been caught out because there's no option. He's being fouled, and he effectively doesn't know what to do. If that makes sense? Like, I know it sounds really bad to say a professional footballer doesn't know what to do, But when you're on your own being hounded like that and nobody's there to help you, you do get into that situation. Like I say, it's not completely excused from it, but it's frustrating to see, because if you see him being hounded and he's getting no protection from the ref, no matter what position you're in, if you're closest man, you should really just go and give him the option, just have a bit of relief from it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just frustrating. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I came out of the stadium, I absolutely hounded Tommy Eaves for that, which is actually why I didn't go on camera, because I would have said something that would have got me in trouble. But again, it just boils down to frustration. It's frustrating to watch because we know we're better than that. We know we're better than getting in them situations where you get caught out like that. But again, to agree with me, there's at least 6 fouls there on Eaves, no protection, and it's just, you know, it's just like, yeah, of course that's happened. You know, that's how it felt. It's just like, yeah, of course that's happened. And
Harvey Kelly says, people saying on Twitter that Tommy's was the worst player on the pitch yesterday. He weren't even the worst sub that came on. So let's just knock all that on head. Mick, it just summed up the game. Ignoring the foul from it, it just summed up the game and the Rotherham performance, that he didn't have the option, that nobody just thought, oh, I'll pick this up. You know, Connor Coventry didn't have the best of games yesterday. He's in a position that deep line player, you've got to be available for those. But when you see your teammate in trouble, do something. And that's what I mentioned, a couple of other players. That brief spell just summed us up for yesterday for me.
Yeah, it does. And to be fair, I mean, I have managed today, as a bit of an aside, I've managed to go through the whole day today without going on Twitter.
Have you really?
Yeah, and listening to what you've just said there and looking at some of the comments in the comments there, I am so glad that I have. Genuinely. And I'll be honest with you, when we lose, I'm more depressed about the fact that I've got to go on social media than I am about us losing. And in all seriousness, if anybody at all thinks that blaming Tom Eaves for that second goal is justified, then you really genuinely need to give your head a wobble, because that is utterly, in my view, it's my opinion, I'll qualify it now, but that is just stupid. It's just utterly stupid. I mean, he's picked the ball up on the edge of the opposition box. Nobody's shown for him. He's moved back a little bit to try and find himself an option, being fouled. Nobody's shown for him. He gets fouled again. He has to move back again. Nobody's showing for it. And so it goes on until he eventually loses the ball, while everybody's stood with their fingers up the backsides, not giving him any help at all. And all of a sudden it's his fault. It blows, again, it's like Stroud. It blows my mind. I genuinely don't. It appears and it feels like it's the old scapegoat situation. We've got to have a scapegoat. We've got to have somebody to pick on, and you know, so if it's not Eaves, it's a Dauphin. If it's not a Dauphin, it's somebody else. But we've always got to have somebody. Honestly, it just genuinely, the fallout from a game sometimes depresses me and upsets me and annoys me more than the game itself and the performance. I can't get my head around how some people think. I just can't. And to blame Tom Eaves for that, it's bizarre. Honestly, I don't understand. Genuinely don't understand.
Shirley says in the comments, is Eaves too soft in the situation that other teams would have maybe gone down once, they get the tug, they would have get the free kick. That's how it's always been. But this, it goes back to refereeing conversation. We're just going to finish off briefly, Danny. He shouldn't have to go down. It's a foul. He's being penalised for trying to be honest and trying to be strong, which is a big problem in football nowadays.
I mean, there was an earlier incident with Eaves where he was quite clearly being fouled and Stroud gave the foul the other way.
Yeah.
So, you know, if that's already happened, Eaves must have the mentality of, I'm not going to get it anyway, so why go down? You know, but like we say, we bring it back, there's no option being shown and he's on the edge of the 18-yard box. You know, like I said, there should be at least one man coming in providing an option. You know, just some sort of outlet. But we've all just sort of stood still and gone, Eaves will sort it out. It's like, no.
He's a big man.
It's a team sport. Don't just leave it to the one man to sort it out. If he's in trouble, you help him out. But we're going back to what Mick said. Oh, I'm glad I stayed off Twitter. Oh, dear me.
Yeah. Tom Eaves going down. Why would he go down?
He shouldn't have to, should he?
Why would he? I mean, he was picked up and thrown up for against Hull, and he didn't get up for that. You know, what's the point in him throwing himself down? It's just, honestly, grow up.
Let's move on. I don't know what we're going to have time for tonight. We've already gone 35 minutes, and there's probably still 4 or 5 things we could talk about. But let's talk about this one. Mike the Miller says, is Matt out of his depth? And I think he's talking about Matt Taylor, not me. Don't know, Mike. Let us know. But this. When do we start asking this question, Mick? Because there is now a pattern. Because we were rubbish post World Cup, we picked it up a bit. We're now gone back into the pattern we were post World Cup. So are we now saying that it's the players are at fault? Is Matt Taylor's tactics at fault? Is Matt Taylor's not passion, motivation, is that at fault? Is he out of his depth, like Mike says? When do you start saying it could be him? Because other teams sacking their managers and I'm not saying we should sack him, sorry, but what I'm saying is other teams are pulling the trigger and they're getting instant responses. Now, whether they, the Warnock and the McCarthy, whether they work is another question. But they are pulling the trigger and taking the gamble. When do you start saying, right, Matt Taylor, 4 wins out of 23, as Harry RUFC puts in the comments, when you start saying that that's not good enough?
No, it's not. It's not good enough at all. But are all these other teams that are sacking the managers the ones that we aspire to be? Is it?
A championship team?
Well, yeah. And how much debt and everything else that goes with it. The picture's massive, isn't it? It's not just about what happens on the pitch in that regard. In terms of Matt Taylor's job, it is obviously about what goes on the pitch. Probably he is out of his depth, but he's got to get into his depth at some stage. He's got to learn. He's got to develop as a manager. He's got to gain experience. I don't think he is. He strikes me as a man that he's willing to learn, willing to adapt, willing to change. I mean, he proved that obviously by altering the system back after those 3 or 4 disastrous games after the World Cup. Maybe he's thought, now we've got some new personnel, maybe we can go back and test the water the way I want us to play. It's clearly not working. Hopefully he'll recognise that and he'll go on and he'll adapt it again, and we'll go back to playing the way that suits us as a team and the staff that we've got at the moment, the players that we've got at the moment. So no, I mean, again, this is another modern day problem, isn't it? We've lost, whatever, we've lost. Sack him, sack manager, get another one in, start again. We have a decent start, lose a few more games, sack next one, start again, and so it goes on and on. No, I don't think he should be sacked. I find that again another ridiculous comment, really. He's got to be given time, and time is not 6 months. Time is not half a season. A manager of that age and of that experience needs 2 or 3 seasons to get it together, not just one. We've got to hope that we've got enough quality to remain in this division, and he will obviously continue to develop day by day, week by week, month by month, and season by season, and he will get better, and he will be a top manager ultimately. Whether that be with us or with somebody else, when he goes on to somewhere else. But sacking managers just because we're having a bad run, and we are having a bad run, there's no doubt about it. We've hardly won any games at all, but we're still not in a disastrous position. It's perilous, it's difficult, and we're not particularly performing well at the moment, but we know that we can perform well. We're lucky at the quality in this division at the moment it's as bad as it's been in any of the other seasons we've been in here, to be honest with you, in the main. So that virtually every game is there to be won. But he's got to change, he's got to adapt, he's got to develop, he's got to continue to do it for me. But sacking him, I don't think is the right way forward at all. Not at all. I just find it bizarre again that would be in the conversation. But I suppose it's just modern day football, isn't it? Yeah. You all play Football Manager and get sacked after 3 games or whatever, and that apparently is real life. I don't know if that's how it works or whatever. It's just now.
But John Morel says here, you have to accept the owner's view of a change manager. You may get 2 or 3 results on a bounce, And at this stage of the season, that literally might mean survival.
Yeah.
So the question then becomes, Danny, what's more important? The long-term trying to build a project with a manager, or staying in the Championship and hoping next season we can kick on? I'm not sitting here advocating Matt Taylor to go, because I think he's got something. But if this was any other club in the Championship, almost any other club in the Championship, he may well have already gone.
I'm going to nail my colours to the mast here and outright openly say sacking Matt Taylor right now is the most stupid decision we could ever make. I mean, you talk about 4 in 23 games. Yeah, fair enough. That is his record. But we are still in a better position now than we were in past Championship seasons.
True.
That probably the best run of form we've ever had in the Championship recently is when Warnock was here. And Warnock worked miracles with us during that Great Escape season. But yeah, you're right with Matt Taylor. He's had one transfer window to try and get it right. And a lot of the players that he's brought in are now injured. Morrison's gone. Keener's gone. Helder's a bit shaky at the minute. So it is a little bit patchworky, and that could explain some of his strange decisions because, you know, some of the players he's brought in himself just aren't there. But then the argument is, you know, we've got other players like he was wanting Kyoso back straight away. He's not making the squad. Same with Lindsay. He's your midfield option who isn't in the squad. So it's a headache. I get it. And I think the initial thing of get rid of Matt Taylor is a lot of frustration from fans. Fair enough. But to sack Matt Taylor right now to go on the gamble of potentially winning 2 or 3 or getting 2 or 3 results is silly for a club in our position, because then that could put us on the back foot for next season, regardless of where we are. I'm sticking with Matt Taylor. Be all and end all, stick with Matt Taylor.
Alan Stubbs was sacked before this time. ALA 1 winning, I think 12. Stubbs was sacked.
Yeah, but
they
were all bad performances, though, weren't they? That one win was a little bit of a. But it's like, this is the thing. I saw John Morell's comment about consistency earlier. Yeah, the Championship is about consistency, but the Championship is also the most inconsistent league in England. You know, you can have Huddersfield challenging for promotion, and now they're suddenly in a relegation scrap. You know, and et cetera, et cetera. Like Norwich, they were virtually nailed on to go back up, but now they're quite just outside the playoffs, I think. Last time I checked the table, Norwich.
Yeah, they're outside playoffs now, yeah.
Yeah, they were virtually nailed on all time to go back up because they're the Premier League Championship yo-yo team. But this season, it's not happened. So, yeah, with Taylor, we've got some really good performances in there. Just to highlight, after that really bad run, Blackburn, Watford and Sheffield United, they were 3 really good performances, 3 games that we could have won. Blackpool was okay, and now we've had 2 quite bad performances in Reading and where did we play last? I've forgotten. Coventry. Yeah. And now it's suddenly, manager needs to go. It's like, no. It's like, with the World Cup, after the World Cup break, fair enough, that wasn't good. But as soon as Taylor got the players in that he wanted, suddenly performances picked up. But now I've had 2 bad results where a lot of things didn't work out on the time. It's just... calm down. You know, that is my message to all 10,000 of you. Just calm down. Don't call for his head after 2 bad performances. We could go and beat Sunderland on Tuesday, and then it's the best thing since sliced bread.
That'd be so Rotherham United, you know.
We said it'd be so Rotherham United to go to Blackpool and lose.
Yeah.
You know, and we nearly did at one point, and then we nearly went and won it at the other point. I mean, if that could show our inconsistency, if I'm being honest, lads, you know, going from being on the brink of losing to being on the brink of winning like that effectively, it's just, again, just calm down, you know.
Yeah. I suppose at the end of the day, it's obviously not down to us, it's down to the owner, and he's got to. It may come to John Morell again in the comments. Am I right? It's 2 wins in 15, couple more bad results, and you don't survive. That matter who you are. We'll have to wait and see. He's invested in January, hasn't he? Tony's put his money where his mouth is this time. He's put the money behind him. If he thinks it's going to tip off, I think as a group we are fairly unanimous that we don't think Matt Taylor should go, but we're not making the decisions. 2 comments that just sort of sum it up. Powerman UK, pointless sacking Taylor. Now the transfer window's gone. Who would you replace him with? Mike Miller says, do we really want to give a manager time to get his project right once again in League One? That neither of those are wrong. Both those opinions are valid for me. Both are valid. But
yeah. They are. Well, we'll pick out. I will point out with John's comment there about 2 wins in 15. I mean, that's a couple more bad results. Well, there's 15, 16 games, whatever it is left. You know, we're going to have a couple of bad results. Birmingham are going to have a couple of bad results. Other teams are going to have bad results in that time. You know, that doesn't necessarily put you down. Not in this league at the moment, the way it is. So I think we stick with where we are, and the point that Danny made there a few minutes ago, it's absolutely right. You know, we've had 2 bad games, and when you break it down, the game against Reading, we should have won that game. We should have won that game had it not been for 2 defensive errors. We could have got something out of the game on Saturday had it not been for a defensive error and a poor decision from the referee. We wouldn't have deserved to get anything Saturday. I absolutely 100% agree with that. I think we would have deserved to get something at Reading, no question. So, you know, we're kind of in that, when you look at it in that sort of perspective through those glasses, if you like, we're in the usual, we've lost a game, let's panic scenario. It's not quite like that, but because the performances haven't been great. But, you know, maybe we need to take a step back a little bit. But it's really difficult after a performance like that on Saturday, which was not good enough in terms of trying to win the game. We didn't create a thing. And one of the things that I'll pick, I don't know whether you're going to go on to anything else about the game, but there seems to be, for some reason, and I don't know whether this is going back to the old regime where it was get the ball in the box, get the ball in the box, get the ball in the box. We seem to be doing everything we possibly can not to put the ball in the box at the moment. I know that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I mean, Lee Peltier, with the greatest respect to him, a great defender, he just point blank refuses to put ball in the box, whether it's a good cross or a bad cross. He's just not doing it. He'll do anything to avoid it, and it would appear
that's down to the management.
Tactically, they've clearly been told, you know, and I thought this after the Blackpool game, particularly with Tariq Fosu, but also with Chio as well. It feels as though the pair of them have been told, don't release the ball too early. And as a consequence, they're holding on to the ball too long, taking too many touches, and the ball's not getting into danger area. Poor old Jordan Hugill, he's come from Norwich. He's been given 1 goal-scoring opportunity, 1, in the whole time that he's been here. Scores it, gets disallowed by Stroud.
Well, he missed one shortly after.
Right, all right, then I'll give him 2 then.
Yeah.
He's got a 50% strike rate, or he would have if it weren't for ref. You know, he must be so frustrated. We're creating nothing, and that is down to the management.
I like doing it. Well, one of the reasons I like doing this live, because we get a fairly reasoned and balanced comments. If you go on social media, it's all one way or the other, but we've got lots of different comments in the section. Football Mad says 3 good games in 20 crap games. Jamie's with us in the comments as well. Danny is saying we need to calm down, but Matt Taylor's actions on Saturday of throwing 5 strikers on smacks of desperation.
Hey, I didn't say Matt Taylor needs to calm down. I said the fan base needs to calm down.
Mike Miller, calm down, but it's 6 points from your last 21 games.
Just to counter that with statistics, Mike. Again, not having a go or anything. Just to counter how statistics can effectively mean anything. We've got 33 points from 32, which is just below a point a game, working out at the end of the season about 47-ish. So 1 win puts us back on course for effectively over 50 points. That's how tight it is at the minute.
Yeah. We are 1 win in 12, which is what Neil Critchley's just been sacked for at QPR. So
yeah, but QPR are a big team. They're a big club. They should be right up at top, QPR. They should be in Premier League. That's where they deserve to be.
Based on history, Neil Critchley's a better manager at this level, based on history. Yeah, somebody put in the comments, and this is something else that maybe plays into thinking of people. You've got someone like Nathan Jones available. You've got other Chris Wilder still available. You've got some potential good managers available. I wonder if that's going to play into thinking. I'm not saying us, Mick. I wonder how that plays into any thought of the board and the owner. I don't know. This is what we're talking about. What?
Do you honestly think Tony Stewart sat at home with his big cigar on, thinking, "I wonder if I can afford to pay Matt Taylor off, and then I wonder if I can afford to employ Nathan Jones or Chris Wilder"? I can't imagine he is.
People, what I'm saying is, people that are working available is a thought. Would possibly be a thought. I don't know.
Not for me.
Not for you. I know that.
Yeah.
But you give a manager 3 years and hope it works out most of the time.
It's not as binary as that. It's not as straightforward.
I know it's not
as that, is it?
No, we're not. We're a win away from everything being rosy again, aren't we?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, let's pass out our comments because we get a good mixture, don't we? We get a really good mixture.
Yeah.
Let's finish on this game, Danny, by saying, I've just written down, where is Jamie Lindsay? Not getting selection, but it seems on merit. Now he goes into the sort of pot with Kyoso and Wood to an extent because, well, personally, if I'm a manager and I Bishop Wood, he's on the bench every week for me. I at least select him as part of the squad because of what he brings as a leader. Similar to Jamie Lindsay, we're desperate for a midfield option yesterday. We were desperate for a central midfielder to come off the bench, and Jamie Lindsay is absolutely nowhere to be seen. It is. I can't think of the right word, to be honest with you, that we would normally use on the podcast, but it's just mad. I don't get it.
We said the same after Reading, didn't we? Where is it? And it was crying out for a midfield option. Like, all right, against Reading, Keane being out, got rid of that midfield option. And no, against Georgie, because again, against Coventry, he came in and put himself about, right? But you still need that option in midfield. Like, sometimes I get with Wood not being selected, you need, and Wes as well to a point, that you need the certain defensive options on the bench. Fair enough. But it's not to tell Matt Taylor how to do his job because he's got the coaching badges and I don't. But logic would dictate that you have your goalkeeper, your two defensive options if you're a team that strives on not conceding goals, which fair enough we do, a midfield option, and maybe two up top just to switch it. Right, if it's not working during the current thing. But we effectively need Jamie Lindsay because he's the terrier in midfield. It's all right having the ferret in Ollie Rathbone who just runs everywhere, right? And then you've got Coventry and a Dauphin. But with Lindsay, he's more of the terrier. You know, he'll get stuck in with it and almost acts as both your anchor and your attacker when he comes into midfield. But to not have that option, it effectively makes the midfield quite flat. Even with Ollie being everywhere. And again, Ollie's doing really well. He's actually doing a really good job as being captain because he sort of gets the subs motivated as they come on, gets people organised, and still puts himself about and really goes in at the games. One of our best players on the pitch, I will admit, against Coventry. But to have Jamie Lindsay on it just gives you that fresher option. And with Keenan now out for at least 2 weeks, I think it is, just bring Lindsay in. It's just something different. And at the minute, what we're doing isn't working. Well, for the last 2 games, it isn't working. So bring Lindsay in, and he could offer something different. If I'm being completely honest, I would have Rathbone, Lindsay, and a Dauphin in midfield against Sunderland.
Yeah. Rathbone, Lindsay, a Dauphin?
Yeah. I'd go for that against Sunderland because it's different. You know, no disrespect to Coventry because he's come in and he's effectively like Barlasser was when we first signed him on loan. Just without the ping forward that Barlasser eventually found. But it's just something different. Sometimes that's what you need in football. You need something different that'll wobble the opposition just a little bit and just gives you something else to have. And that could be Jamie Lindsay. I'm not saying it's certified, but it could be. Yeah,
mate. I mean, Conor Coventry's really struggling. He's really, really struggling. He's not hit. Well, I can't tell you exactly what he does yet. I don't know whether we're expecting something different from him. I don't know. But at the minute, he's just not hitting his stride. And we could say it all night. Jamie Lindsay's got to be in that match day squad. He has just got to be. I don't get it, mate. I don't get it, understand.
No, I don't. It makes no sense. It genuinely doesn't make any sense, does it? The lad's more than capable of competing at this level, more than capable. And Conor Coventry's. I mean, Danny's just used the word effectively in the same sentence as Conor Coventry. That's precisely what he's not, effective. Unfortunately, at the moment, listen, he's a quality player, he's a Premier League player. There's no doubt about that, but he's not effective, unfortunately. And I saw a couple of times in this game and the Reading game where he's neshing out of challenges. He's not committed to this cause whatsoever. I don't think. That's the impression I get from the way I see him playing at the moment. He's had the opportunity to show what he's capable of, and he's not come close to showing it for me. So we need to be replacing him in the first team, in the starting lineup, and having a word with him, because I genuinely don't think he's committed to it.
Or take him out of the firing line. Just take him out. Give him we said the same with Wilesley earlier in the season. Just take him out for a minute for his sake. It's not working right now.
No, it's not. Absolutely, it's not. It's definitely not. So we do need some changes in there, and you're not going to get Dan Barlaser back. Obviously, you're not going to get a player of Dan Barlaser's quality back to give you that creativity. The only person probably that we've got on our books at the moment that could come anywhere close to that is Ben Wiles, and obviously Ben's injured and probably not back this season, but you never know, it might be. But yeah, it's a massive issue, that midfield. It's been all over the place since Barlaser went. I don't think it's all over the place because Barlaser's gone. I think it's just because of whatever little tweak in tactics the management team have decided on. It's clearly not working. It's clearly not working. I don't know whether it's trying to make this the front two either side of the striker, giving them a bit of a free role. It's not working. It's not, because everybody's getting in everybody's way, and there's no options as per the issue with Tom Eaves on Saturday. You get the striker gets the ball with his back to goal, and there's no assistance for him at all because the midfield and the two supporting strikers are all over the place. It's just, it needs addressing, and Jamie Lindsay in that midfield, I think, will help with that. But I don't know what the hell's going off. I added to that list Peter Kioso.
Correct.
Matt
Miller couldn't have spoke highly enough about him when he first came in, could he?
And he's not even on bench. He's not even making the bench, and he's not injured. Again, it blows my mind a little bit. It's just not. It's not right. It's not right. You've got some quality there, and you're not even giving them the option or opportunity to get on the pitch as a substitute, let alone being picked.
Let's put the tinfoil hats on. Do you think there's been some promises made to the new signings in terms of game time to their parent club? West Brom are not loaning somebody out to a random club if he's not going to get game time necessarily. There's other ones as well, but yeah. That's a tinfoil hat. But that's how football works sometimes. You get clauses in contracts.
If that's the case, then as a manager, you've got to stand on and say, look, it's not working, mate. He's not good enough for it. Well, he is good enough, but his form at the moment is not such that I can play him. We're not an experimental side for West Ham or whoever's loaned as players. We're not an experiment. You come in, if it's not effective, you don't play. It's that simple. So we have to stand on with that. I think anyway.
I agree. I might be wrong. Again, could be. Mike Neal says, must have missed something with Lindsay. Don't know why he's not getting a look in, but he's not the answer to the awful dearth of creativity in the midfield. We don't have anybody else as the response to that.
He's a more creative player than Conor Coventry is at the moment.
At the moment, yeah. Yeah. And it gives you it gives you that spark. It gives you that energy. How many times has Jimmy Lindsay created an opportunity for somebody else just because of a bit of a press? He's really, really good at that. Really good at that. I also don't buy that Matt Taylor saying he wants more attacking options on bench. We had Keane on bench, and he's a midfielder. Why are you not putting Jamie Lindsay on bench? They're essentially the same position. I don't buy that at all for 1 second. There's something else there. There's got to be, but we don't know. Again, Tim for Hart.
I genuinely think it's because Matt Taylor's wanted to. He feels that he's wanting to attack, so he's wanting attack-minded players, with the likes of Keena and Fosu and Ogbeni and so on and so forth. Ollie's pushing forward constantly. A Duffin can be a danger in the box. You know what I mean? I think that's where he's whereas Jamie Lindsay is not that kind of player, or he clearly doesn't see him as that kind of player.
No, it's not.
Maybe, I don't know.
But
that just feels a bit naive, doesn't it? So maybe that's just nonsense. I don't know.
We'll see. I'll go back to this again. If it were me, Jamie Lindsay and Richard Wood getting every single match day squad I pick. They just do. They're just great people to bring off the bench. They're great people to have around. They're clearly great people. I just not buying it at all. Also, I don't know if anybody's noticed this. Did anybody see Yelder when he got told he wasn't coming on? He was not a happy bunny. He was fully stripped off and ready to go on the pitch. We changed his mind and brought Bailey Wright on. Yelder was told he wasn't coming back on. He took his bib off and slammed it down and started getting undressed on bench. He looked furious. Just more flame for the fight.
At least he's passionate, I'll give him.
At least he cares. Yeah, he wants to play, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is really good. We've got an hour. We have not touched on the Sunderland game, so we're very quickly going to do that. John Mel, you are all sticking up for a manager 5 minutes. Good night, moaning about his consistent poor tactical setup and bombing players out.
Hey, we're all entitled to go a good whinge. Mickey's on the podcast, you know. But I think we're all in agreement that sacking Taylor is a stupid decision. But he's not completely escaping having a good whinge, is he?
No, wait, right. There's questions. There's questions on Matt Taylor. I think that's best. That's where we can leave it right now. There's questions on him.
I think Matt, you need to get up with a modern day way of thinking.
Sorry. Let me try that again.
Areas for development.
I'm going to try it again. You ready? Matt Taylor out.
Don't you start.
That's good.
I'm kidding. I don't know. No, I'm not on that brigade. Very quick. Well, I'll say very quickly. We're going to spend a bit of time on the Sunderland game. We'll spend 10 minutes. So, first of all, ref watch. Chris Kavanagh. He is a Premier League referee.
Why does his name ring a bell?
Which I will see if I can find any famous games he's refereed. He has refereed us 4 times, never at New York Stadium, and we only have 1 win. That was at Hillsborough in 2016 with the Matt Darwisher goal. But we lost to Reading, Birmingham, and Burton when he was refereeing us. Yeah, like I said, he is a Premier League referee. He's refereed some games this season. Nothing significant as far as I can see. No, nothing. I can't see anything. I may be wrong, but I might be wrong. Our record against Sunderland, I've lost my notes for that one, to be honest with you.
I'll help you out. It's rubbish. That's what you're going to say.
It's pretty well. Other than last time.
Yeah, well, the last 3 aren't bad. No, in terms of overall games, the last 3 aren't bad. You know, we battered them, drew, and then lost really badly. So I think we found some sort of middle ground with Sunderland at the minute.
1 win in 18 against Sunderland, which was a 5-1 last season. Only our second meeting in the second season, obviously, since the 60s. We rarely meet at this level. Very, very rarely meet at this level. Don't know why.
So we played more. This is the first second-tier meeting between Rotherham and Sunderland at New York Stadium.
Yes.
Oh,
correct. We played them in the Ronnie Moore First Division days once, and then back in the 60s prior to that. Other than that, it's been third tier. We've played them, or cup. Yeah. So how are we going to go? How are we going to set up Tuesday, Mick? Shelley says Yelder, Kyoso, Lindsay, and Kelly are all in on Tuesday for him. Can't get any worse. I can't argue with many of those. I don't think that's what's going to happen. But yeah,
I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult after that performance, which in and of itself, I guess you could argue wasn't horrendous, but we never really look like creating anything. And we need something that's gonna. We need goals. We need goals, and I think in the way that we've talked about the previous game, I think we've covered a lot of what we would like to see in this next game. But I just want to see a return to that intensity.
Intensity is the big thing for me. That
It's
press
massive.
intensity is massive.
We banged on about it we all did, banged on about it for 3 or 4 weeks post World Cup, and it came back, and all of a sudden we were playing really well and getting some good results against top teams in the division. And it's dropped off until we end up with a 2-0 defeat at home to Coventry, which, where's it going to go now? Is this going to be another catalyst for us to kick on and return to that way of playing? And if it is, the lineup doesn't necessarily matter, because we've got all the players either on the bench or in the team that's starting on Saturday that are capable of doing it and causing teams problems. I don't think it's about the lineup on Tuesday night necessarily. I think it's more about how we approach the game. So I wouldn't want to make a call what his plans are, but I'd love to see Lindsay back in there. I'd like to see Kioso back in there, not necessarily starting, but certainly on the bench. So again, we're going to have to wait and see, like I say every time, don't I? And every time we go to preview a game, we're going to have to wait and see what the lineup is, and I won't really want to second guess it. But we'll see.
Stuart Humphreys says, play two up front as we can't score when we have one.
I mean, we can't score when we've got 3 up front either.
Oh, back 5, yeah. Again, there's not something we necessarily have the answers to because we're not qualified, really. But do you think, right, let's stick it out. He's got a plan in mind, 4-3-3. This is clearly what he wants, because these are players he's brought in to fit that system. Stick with it. Maybe change the personnel, bring Chio out, Fozzo in, something like that. Or do you say, right, sod this, it's not working. 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2 diamond. What do you think Matt Taylor's going to do?
I think Taylor will stick with his 4-3-3, but bring in different people. I think Chio will go out for Fozzo. I think probably Ferguson will come out for who would you play on that left side? I know it might be a bit too far forward, but maybe Bramall. But then bring Yelder in into that back four because we've seen it. We've seen the back four. We've seen it before that Yelder and Bramall overlap really well. It does with Ferguson as well, so I think it's a Yelder thing. So I think Yelder needs to come in. I'd be inclined to say maybe more or less the same team that we played against Blackburn, but of course with Fozzo in for Chio and such like that. But and then bring Lindsay into midfield. I would say that maybe is a must. Bring Lindsay in, or at least have Lindsay on the bench.
Yeah, I agree. We don't know the answer.
Yeah, we are merely humble football fans having an opinion.
Correct.
But we don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know what we're on about. We're just here chatting stuff about football for an hour.
Okay. Last comment. John Morell says he might lose the plot and work in reverse and start with 5 up top.
Yeah.
Agreed. We'll finish up predictions. We've got an hour and 10 minutes, and Mick needs a wee, so let's just predictions and bugger off. Mick, prediction for Tuesday.
7-0 Rotherham.
Some stuff I've heard isn't too far away from that either.
Yeah. Listen, let's be optimistic. Let's hope that we can get back on bike a little bit. 2-1 Rotherham.
2-1 Millers. Danny?
I might echo Millie here, reversing last season's result 5-1 Sunderland. No, kidding. I'm going to go positive because I like to think I'm a positive person. We're going to win 3-2.
Jesus.
There'll be some sort of miracle that'll happen, and it'll be an end-to-end game, and it'll be 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, and then I don't know. Hugo will score. He'll be left on the pitch for some reason past 60 minutes, and he'll score winner.
Sure. It's going to be almost a full house under the lights. Crazy things can happen. We've seen it before. It's football. It's great. Having said that, I'm going to go 2-0 Sunderland.
Matt is the realism anchor in this. To be fair, Matt, I've heard someone predict we're going to win 10-0, so...
Why not? Why not? I was through Cleveland says 2-1 to them. John Morrell says 3-0 Sunderland. They are in form. Yes, they are. Harvey Kelwick 1-1 minus 0-0. 3 Mad says Football Mad. Mike Miller goes 2-0, hoping he's wrong. I'm with Mike on that one. Race Medley says 2-1, finishing it with Chris Page 3. It's a 3-1 to them. Kim Hayward 1-0 to the Millers. Happy days. It's not happy days, but anyway, thank you all for being with us for this hour and 10 minutes that we've waffled on. We will be back on Thursday, which will review Sunderland. There is no preview. We don't play at the weekend. We play Monday. We will do that preview as on Sunday, probably, unless there's a change. Keep an eye on the socials. Follow us on Twitter, IFC_pod. We're 900 and something subscribers. If you haven't, please do go over there. Please subscribe because we're going to get 1,000 before the end of the season, Mick.
Oh, mate, that'd be unbelievable, wouldn't it?
Would it just?
Imagine 1,000 subs and we stay up. That'd be ace.
I think if we get 1,000 subs, the EFL should give us survival.
Yeah, because if there's 1,000 people stupid enough to subscribe to this, then anything could happen.
Yeah. So anyway, we're back on Thursday evening on YouTube, Friday morning for the audio podcast. Mick will probably stay off Twitter, especially if we lose on Tuesday. So, John, no more Harry Suter videos because he won't see them. Mick, thank you for being with us for plenty of rants tonight. It's been good.
No worries.
Yeah. Danny, it's been a pleasure to have you with us as well, mate. Thank you for being here.
Yep, always a pleasure. Thank you to everybody for 900. And I'm off to do a drugs test because Powerman UK says I've been too positive and need testing.
Like it. Thank you, everybody. Up the Millers, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant. Mule with it. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again. The magic man has come up with another trick. Well, here's a chance to seal it.